Hello, my name is Raymond Karchevsky, and this is coming to you from my home here in Cave Junction, Oregon. Tonight's subject is titled Sovereign Citizens, a Growing Domestic Threat to Law Enforcement. It is an article put out by the FBI's Counterterrorism Analysis Section. My response to this article is thus: I, Raymond Ronald Karchevsky, this living, breathing, flesh and blood, sentient natural man, is one of them thar sovereign citizens you speak of. Here is an actual law that cannot be countermanded by any municipal, state, and or federal government spin doctors who hide behind a legion of aliases on the Internet. The corporate administrative rules, regulations, and legislative policies do not apply to non-corporate natural people who stand in common law and in full legal capacity as one of the sovereign people. The law states, there, every man is independent of all laws, except those prescribed by nature. He is not bound by any institutions formed by his fellow men without his consent. Cruden versus Neal, 2 NC 338, parentheses, 1796, close parentheses, 2 SE 70. Listen to an actual court recording regarding this scam, which is pulled off against the American people by black-robed criminals sitting on the benches of our courtrooms. It's titled The Impotence of Oregon Judges Who Confuse Public Policy for Law. Then educate yourself by listening to some 100 YouTube videos concerning our runaway criminal Oregon government. These recordings may be found on my website, arkenterprises.com. Then read the actual law, which trumps every corporate court in the land, titled State of Oregon and Josephine County, Raymond Karchevsky, and the 10 foundational maxims of commerce. 1. A workman is worthy of his hire. 2. All are equal under the law, both moral and natural law. 3. In commerce, truth is sovereign. 4. Truth is expressed by means of an affidavit. 5. An unrebutted affidavit stands as the truth in commerce. 6. An unrebutted affidavit becomes the judgment in commerce. A matter must be expressed to be resolved. 8. He who leaves the field of battle first loses by default. 9. Sacrifice is the measure of credibility, for if one has neither been damaged nor incurred a risk, and is unwilling to swear an affidavit that is true, correct, and complete, the commercial equivalent of the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, on his unlimited commercial liability for the veracity of his statements and the legitimacy of his action, he has no credibility, and therefore no basis for asserting any claims or charges or claiming authority. 10. A lien or a claim can be satisfied only through rebuttal by counter-affidavit, point by point, resolution by jury, or payment. You may have noted the lengthy but ambiguous spin concerning the nationwide sovereign movement, which makes a lot of speculative claims but supplies no facts that the sovereign movement is a criminal activity per se. Are there crooks in the movement? No more nor less than the crooks which exist in law enforcement and our courts. I am living proof that the courts are daily committing crimes and persecuting and prosecuting living, breathing, flesh and blood, sentient natural men and women who challenge the courts to prove its jurisdiction over those who do not belong to the corporate United States government and do not consent to their own prosecution. The state of Oregon and county of Josephine came after me 9 years ago, threatened me with 35 to 40 years in prison. They threw me in jail as one of them our paper terrorists for 128 days. 121 of those days were in the hole, solitary confinement, because I asserted my rights to hold my public officials accountable for their actions. The courts convicted their own fictional straw man, the juristic person, the defendant, in 2 trials. When it came time for sentencing, I merely refused to accept their offer of sentencing because they had not proven jurisdiction over this living man. Guess what happened? They threw me out of jail instead of throwing me into prison because I had called their bluff, and they have never proven jurisdiction over me even unto this very day. Aside from the original demonstration of threats, intimidation, and bluffs, I have been stopped on many occasions and have yet to appear in court and pay for any fines claimed by the citations issued to the straw man or the juristic person. They will not arrest me. They will not take me before a court, before a judge. They just put their street officers in harm's way, enforcing department policies, corporate policies, which are not crimes, but merely corporate rules, regulations, and the like, which apply to those who are members of the corporation by their own consent or contract. Cops throughout the nation are beginning to be shot. When I last looked, the American people still had the unalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This includes the right to self-defense, to protect themselves at the hands of those who would do them bodily harm or even death. After the original time that I spent in jail at the beginning of this criminal spree by our sheriff, judges, district attorneys, and court administrators, I continue to do the very same things for which I was originally arrested, yet they will not arrest me now. If my actions in the beginning were declared to be a crime, why is it not considered to be a crime now? I have not appeared in court in response to any of the citations that have been issued to me, and I have not paid a penny in fines, court costs, etc. in 9 years. I have merely sent in paperwork, accompanied by my sworn affidavit, requiring them to answer the questions of jurisdiction, accompanied by their own sworn affidavits. On each and every occasion, they refuse to answer, and thus are in commercial default. And you will note that the commercial maxims that truth is expressed by means of an affidavit, that an unrebutted affidavit stands as truth in commerce, and such unrebutted affidavit becomes judgment in commerce, as if one had gone to court, stood trial, and was found not guilty by the court judge himself. That is why they do not seek a warrant for my arrest, for failure to appear in court. By their repeated defaults, which occur prior to the court date of the citation, they have agreed that my position is correct and stands as truth, and such truth stands as judgment, to the tune of millions of taxpayers' dollars. If you wonder why the government is broke, it is because of these criminal offenses which supplement their massive criminal swindling of the American people through bailouts, because the average man has lost his backbone. Hell, they've even got a sheriff, a judge, a district attorney, and a court administrator who routinely are in default of these corporate maxims, some of whom are in breach of their own oath of office. But they have a stone wall of silence from behind which they hide from their responsibility, while they thumb their noses at the U.S. Constitution through a concerted conspiracy to cover up such crimes. Every government who operates and enforces such corporate licensing rules are operating a multi-billion-dollar scam against the American people. Think not? Why not put it to the test? Rise up, for God's sake, and demand that they answer this question of jurisdiction over any living, breathing, flesh and blood, sentient, natural man or woman brought forcibly before the fictional court. And you shall soon see who the true criminals are. What the hell is wrong with the American people? Have they lost their minds? We the people have the power of our future, of our lives, in our own hands, for we are the true government. They are merely our servants.